Good morning. So good to see you again. It is Monday. What Monday is it? It's Monday, August 24th. This is Talent Talk Live, and we are going to introduce. Oh, I am Jurgen. I should let you know that, right? And along with me today, I also have, who's it going to be? It's going to be yo boy, Steve Chung.
Woo! Bang. Good morning.
And not to be forgotten, we got yo girl, Divina.
Woo! Good morning.
Do a little shift.
Good morning.
I like dancing first thing in the morning.
You would think I figured this out by now, right? How long we've been doing this? I'm just trying to fit in the box. I just can't fit in the box.
No, you can't be contained.
Good morning, you guys.
Good morning.
Happy Monday. Awesome. I feel like we're on a like I'm looking. I see Jurgen and then Steve and then me, and you're high. Jurgen's up high,
it's a bar graph.
in the middle, and I'm down low. You know.
All right. So what are we measuring? I guess up here is the tip top. This is where the market is right now. Right. This is where it was back in 2007, 2008.
Right. Oh gosh.
And Steve is measuring about 2014, I think.
Wow. So I'm excited about today because what are we talking about today?
Oh, today is fantastic. Today is one of the ones, as a guest, something people have questions about all the time. Not only buyers or sellers have questions. A lot of real estate agents have questions about what goes on in this process.
Absolutely. And it's one of the major hurdles in real estate that we tell our clients, it ain't over till we get through this, right? So yeah. Very, very, very important process in the real estate sales transaction.
So,
what is it?
I know, right? What am I?
Steve, what are we talking about?
Today we are talking about appraisals.
Woo, 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 woo.
We're talking about appraisals. So the home appraisal occurs after you accept an offer, and usually it's within 7 days after an inspector has reviewed your home. In other words, once you and the buyer have worked out the details about the price, repairs, and the credits, essentially all the financial give and take, the lender will send an appraiser out to the property to take a look at the home and give you the fair market value of the home. So we are going to be talking with an appraiser today.
And you know what's awesome? I love the opportunity to do this today because a lot of times I don't think people understand that these are real people and that, they're not boogeymen in the deal. There's real value to what they do, but it's understanding what it is. And, just they're there to help too.
Yep, definitely. So before we bring and announce our appraiser that's going to be coming on and joining us, we got a quick trivia question for you guys. So after determining the value of the improvements of an existing structure, the appraiser deducted this amount from the market value to determine the value attributed to the land.
That is in the comments. Because you got all that the first go around, right?
What's that?
Yeah. You at home, you got that, right?
It should be in the comments.
After determining the value of the improvements of an existing structure, the appraiser deducted this amount from the market value to determine the value attributed to the land. The appraisal method is known as. Ooh.
And we've got the answers in the comments.
There it is.
Surplus productivity, the abstractive method, the development method, or the land residual method. Sounds like one of those technical questions.
Yeah. I'm so glad it's not the obstructive method.
But the abstractive.
Correct. So, yeah. Well, if you know the answer, I know that our guest knows the answer to that question. But yeah, so if you want to take a wild guess, or if you actually know the answer, just put it in the comments or answer the question that Christy puts a little poll thing together. So do what you do there. And let's see what the answer actually is at the end.
Yeah, and we'll have our guest keep it in his back pocket during the time. So
right. No cheating. So anyway, so I guess it's time for us to bring our guest on, and he has actually been doing appraisals. He started doing appraisals almost 30 years ago. Like, this guy is an expert. If we have to say there's one existing here, he's definitely one. And he works majority in the Pierce and Thurston County. So the areas that we are working, he's probably done an appraisal on one of your properties, whether you live in one, whether you're an agent, whether you've just purchased, or 30 years, it's likely he's been in a lot of these properties in our areas. So anyway, we would like to bring on our guest expert appraisal. He owns his own appraisal company. He's a one-man show. Hubber Home Appraisals, Chey Huber.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay.
yes, sir.
Good morning.
There you are. Sorry. Good morning. Boy, that was quite an introduction. Yeah, I haven't realized I've been doing it that long, but yes, I have. So how are you guys doing?
We're good. And what's amazing is you're only like 32. So you started really young.
32. Boy,
He stepped out of the womb.
I don't feel like it.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I'm older than that, that's for sure. So, yeah, you're right about appraisers, though. There, you said something about I think we're more like Sasquatches. Have you guys ever actually seen one?
I know.
I've heard of one being in a home before, but
I know, and people are very.
We try to remember.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sean.
There's a little bit of a delay. I've never been on the radio, so I don't know. But yeah, no, it's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll ask the questions and try to communicate in a very slowly to make sure that the delay is there, and we'll pause and wait for you. Okay, so the first actually got a question for you, because
I think he fell off the chat.
okay. So I'm going to play the role of Chey. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. He is giving a second to connect, and I will put him back as soon as it connects.
All right. Darn. There goes my appraiser. Just my role playing for the day.
Oh God, you're so funny. Sorry, Jurgen.
Hello. There we go. Are you there?
Welcome back.
We are here.
Yeah. I'm not sure what happened there. Okay.
There was just a little bit of a delay and maybe just a little bit of a bad connection, but we are going to deal with it because that's just technology, and this is how we go live. So just wanted to, thanks for joining back in. So one of the questions, and I know Steve kind of previewed that was when we started about appraisals, but what exactly is an appraisal, and what are you looking for when you do an appraisal?
Well, an appraisal, kind of in a nutshell, it's a document created by a licensed appraiser that provides an estimate of value on a home. Basically, that's it. And what am I looking for? Oh yeah, what am I looking for? Oh, I'm looking for all kinds of things. There's, before I even go out to a property, I pull all the comparables that are potential comparables. I look at the insides of the homes and make sure that I'm aware of what the comparables are looking like. Then when I get to subject, I'm kind of going through in my mind, just kind of saying, how does this compare to these comparables that I've chosen? And then outside of those kind of like value related and condition and quality issues, I'll try to look for things like, things you would call out, like missing stoves, things that make it not as functional or livable. Those are things that you would quote call out, or some people call them conditions. Blown windows, toilets have to be working right, sufficient water pressure, exterior door locks working right, signs of leakage on the inside from the roof leakage or something like that, chimney cracks, peeled paint on the exterior. The list goes on, but those are the things that I'm basically looking at.
Wow. There's a lot that you have to keep in mind when you're going through these properties. I was just thinking, you've been doing this for quite a while right now, 20 plus years, and you've probably seen like lots of changes and stuff in the marketplace and doing appraisals. How's COVID affected appraisals right now?
It hasn't as much as you would think, other than the fact that I've obviously put myself at greater risk. I guess it has changed in one level. Fannie Mae did come out with like a relaxed way of doing our appraisals. So it's only for certain appraisals, though, only ones that qualify for this. And it's like a drive-by. It's not even a drive-by, actually. It's called a desktop. And it's a COVID desktop, they call it. And I've only done about a handful of them because, honestly, most loans don't qualify for that, even though Fannie Mae might make a change to the rules on anything. Usually it's something that banks make their own decisions. So their decision is that they don't want to do too many of those loans. So honestly, I've done a handful of them, and it's just as much work to try to figure out what exists in this home from your desktop as it does just doing the inspection. I would prefer just do the inspection myself.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And one of the things too is sometimes appraisers get a bad name thinking that you're out to kill a deal because you have a method that you need to utilize to understand what the value of the home is and assess what that value is. And sometimes in like the current market conditions are, we have low supply, we have high demand, so we're in an appreciating marketplace. How do you compensate, or how do you allow for the differences in market, whether it's a normal market, an appreciating market like we have right now, or like a depreciating market like we had back in 2008, 9, 10, et cetera?
Well, you have to make room for that with pendings and listings. Those are kind of your indicator of the future of the market. So, when the market's growing as fast as it has been recently, pendings are very, very important. We can't technically go above our highest sale comp. So the Fannie Mae rule is that you can't come in at a value above your highest sale comp. So one of your sales, even though your pendings might be higher than 425, if your sale is only 425, your highest sale, that's as high as you can come in. So we're bound by that. But where the pendings and listings come in is that they oftentimes will show you kind of the direction of the market. They may come in at 435 in the same given example, or 440, and therefore it would give me all the more reason to land more near my high comp, so I could land at the 425. And maybe that's 10,000 under the sales price, but it's sometimes the best you can get.
Wow.
That makes sense. So I know a lot of times we're hearing, we're like, well, this one's active and this one's pending. Why can't we get value? And the appraisers are saying we can only go off of solds, but the pendings just give the appraiser a more solid reason to go on the higher end of the solds. Is this what we're hearing? Correct?
You got it. Yes, yes, you nailed that. Yeah, and you might, as an agent, I don't know how many of you are agents or if you are, but speaking to agents here, you might get a few extra calls from appraisers. I've been texting people like crazy, and it does take extra time, but it's good to find out what these pendings are actually pending for after an escalation, and they're not listed on MLS as such. So yeah, it's really good to call on all these pendings to make sure where you're at. That helps a lot with your appraisal and trying to get that up there. We're not the enemy of the market. We're really trying to do the best we can. And so, yeah.
Okay. And, we're talking about price here specifically, but those aren't the only things, like you talked about, that are super important within an appraisal. So a question, you mentioned a bunch of things that you're looking at. What are the most common conditions that you encounter that get called out on appraisals?
Right. Yes. The things that get called out. I thought of a few here, just offhand. Just few came to mind. I would say probably the three most common ones for me. Um, the most common one that kind of I make sure I cover this when I set the appointment. Believe it or not, I still show up and they're still missing. But it's carbon monoxide detectors. Those on every sale that occurs, there has to be a carbon monoxide detector on each floor, and that includes basement. So, I looked up the reason for this. I was kind of wondering what the reason for this was, and it gave a little bit of validity to it. Between 1990 and 2005, there were 1,000 deaths in Washington alone that occurred from carbon monoxide poisoning, and that's when they started instituting this rule. So, anyway, that's a little stat for you there. The other item that I most often call out would be hot water tank straps. When you're dealing with an FHA appraisal, water tank straps are required, or a home that has a water tank that was put in 2015 or recent, that has to have earthquake straps on it. And I can't tell you how many re-inspections I end up doing for those items. And then the final thing, as far as that goes, would be splash blocks. Those are the things that are on the end of the downspout. So you have to have a 90-degree elbow and then a splash block. Those are always missing, and they show up in a side picture and they go in the report. And so obviously you're going to have to call it out, on an FHA appraisal because they go through them with a fine-tooth comb. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. That's good.
There's more.
Good. There's a few things we can, prep our our clients for.
Right. It seems like there's always something depending upon financing, I guess it is our right, things that maybe we have to look for. And speaking of that, when you're doing the appraisal, Shies, like what's the difference between like the financing options if they're going FHA, VA, or conventional? What's the difference with the appraisals?
The way we do the appraisal is always the same, and we're supposed to be looking out for the exact same thing on a conventional appraisal as we are FHA. However, I would say that the biggest difference is probably the photo requirements. FHA and VA require more photos to proving things like water tank straps, proving things like splash blocks, and an attic and crawl space. So that's another thing is on FHA and VA. Those are the things that you might want to have the borrowers or sellers unlock the crawl space, make the attic accessible, because that's part of an FHA appraisal. That's specific because we do need to take photos of those things.
Nice. This one is kind of building off the question you had before, which was, some of the conditions called out. You mentioned like the splash blocks but as people are getting prepared to put their home on the market, we do some things that are kind of aimed towards what an inspector might look for, but also we have to be prepared for what an appraiser would look for. So if helping somebody get their home prepared to go onto the market, what are some of the things for both the value and condition that you would recommend a homeowner and an agent consulting with a homeowner would look out for to make sure that they hit those marks for the appraisal?
Well, yeah, I mentioned the three biggest ones: CO detectors, hot water tank straps, and splash blocks. But aside from that, I think it's a good idea to tidy up. A lot of people say, "Oh, I didn't clean my house." I say, don't worry about cleaning because pictures don't show dirt, but they do show some clutter. But if you're moving, it's to be expected that you're going to have boxes everywhere, and that happens. That's fine. But the other, thing that I would say it would be best would be to tidy up as much as you can, and that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else really. I mean, there's Yeah, that's about it. You know, the sellers might want to know that we are going to be shooting pictures of each room. Sometimes people are surprised by that. Oh, you got to come in the house. Oh no, you know. So yeah, every room has to be shot. And like I said earlier, make sure the crawl space isn't, you know, screwed shut or locked or anything like that.
Yeah.
Good.
You know, hey, Davina, there's one thing that we missed at the front. You know, this is one of the things when we're engaged in real estate and we do real estate on a daily basis. Sometimes we forget to go back to basic. And Shy, I mean, with the appraisal, we kind of went right into it, and love you for doing it. But what is the value of what you do to a transaction? I mean, why do we have appraisers?
Right. Well, in a nutshell, the banks would like to know that the collateral is worth the money that they're loaning to the borrower. So um, it's really important on that end. You know, I mean, if you're loaning somebody money on something, you want to be able to know that if they couldn't make the payment tomorrow, and you had to take it back over, that you could sell it for that very same thing that the appraiser is suggesting that it's worth.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. You, you know, one of the things, this is actually really valuable because I know that people can point fingers at appraisers and saying, you know, why are they calling that out, or why are they doing this, or why are they doing that? And literally, based on what you're sharing, is you're only following instructions based on what the requirements are for that buyer's loan. In the, you know, making sure that you take the pictures and you call out the things that you know that FHA or VA or conventional or whatever type of loan are going to want to require for whatever property that they're purchasing. So, you know, I know that a lot of finger points come your way. I do have a question for you, and this is kind of just a real question that doesn't necessarily take thought, but you know, how do you handle situations when you know, this is a very emotional process, and because you can be the brunt of the finger pointing, you know, how do you handle situations, you know, when agents, you know, want to call, or people want to call and, you know, ask questions, or maybe be a little bit more on the aggressive side of things? Do you see that, first of all, and then how do you what advice can you give us when we're in heat, you know? We're like, what, you know, how can you help the real estate agent population have a little bit more grace for appraisers?
Got it. Yeah, no, I understand. And yes, thank you for saying that we are, in fact, we're operating under a strict set of guidelines. You know, I mean, it's not like we want to be the bad guy all the time or anything like that, but the guidelines are set up in such a way that there's really no way to go outside of them, you know. So we have to do certain things. We have to call certain things out, and sometimes we have to come in at a certain value because there was just no comp to support it. But you wanted to know what agents can do, like when approaching an appraiser. I know that's a sensitive subject because sometimes they say, okay, well, you can't try to coerce the appraiser and so forth. Some people are scared to even email me back or call. You know, it's like they're just paranoid about it. And I get it because, you know, with the advent of the AMC and all that kind of stuff, the appraisal management companies and that kind of thing, that really became kind of a no-no. But for me, I consider agents a source. They're just as valuable a source of information as anything and anybody else. And I'm open to discussion. I'm open to comps. You know, send them to me. Go ahead. See if I missed something. And I have seen that before, where I've gotten a comp and I'm like, wow, how did I miss that? I didn't see that. It didn't show up in my search. Okay, well, great. Most of the time I do get, you know, I do have all the comps and all that stuff, and it's all good. But occasionally, that if you're going to do that, do it at the beginning of the transaction. Don't do it at the end or during value reconsideration, I guess. If you're going to try to test if an appraiser is okay with it, and each appraiser makes their own decision on that too. By the way, it's kind of like, is it going to change me and make me biased to talk to this agent? Some appraisers feel like they would be biased if they talk to an agent. I don't. I just take the information as I'm soliciting it from MLS or anything else, and I look at it all and weigh it all out and go from there.
Right. That's good. That's great advice. Thank you for mentioning that, because we talk about that too. Get your comps for the appraiser and maybe have a list of features that he may or she may not be able to see from the surface, that may not be in the listing, because you guys are relying on information. And if you don't have it, you can't use it. So
right. If you're a homeowner too, you might want to leave a list on the kitchen counter. If you really want to be diligent, leave a list of all the improvements within the last 5 years for the appraiser. That's helpful. Sometimes I'll take that and I'll just put it right in the report. It's something you can do.
Good to know. That's great advice.
And tidy up.
Tidy up. Straight from the appraiser's mouth there. Great sound advice.
Yes. Yeah. Anything else you want to?
Thank you.
Yeah, we talked just real brief, and I think this is an interesting one, especially with the market. We talked about the market conditions right now are in an appreciating market. It's very fast moving. Buyers, when they're making offers, are trying to reduce their contingencies oftentimes as much as they can. Sometimes in that process, they are waiving inspection contingencies or some things. Sometimes people are not really well informed on what the difference between an appraisal and a home inspection are. And I've heard, like in the past, some agents have maybe even said, hey, don't worry about it. You have the appraisal to back you up when it comes to even an inspection, but you're not a home inspector, right?
No, definitely not a home inspector. And as far as that tactic, as far as waiving the home inspection in order to gain edge on a potential buyer, I get that. You got lots of people after one property. That's just one more thing that they can offer. You can always do the building inspection afterwards and take care of those things yourself, because in this market, most likely you're going to end up taking care of those items of repair yourself anyways, because sellers are not taking care of anything lately. They've been just, come with no money, pay your own closing costs and let's wrap this deal up. I'm not doing anything. That's just the way it is because it's such a seller's market,
Yeah. And you are definitely not going over fine tooth. You have a certain responsibility to, like when you put the appraisal together, where does the appraisal go? Because it's not like the home inspection where there's a negotiation point here for items that they might want corrected or fixed. Your appraisal goes where?
Right. Okay. So my appraisal is the property of the lender, and that's who it belongs to. And let them give it to the borrower if they choose, and they usually do, of course. But that's it. I can't give it to the borrower unless of course to do a personal appraisal.
Nope. I think we might have just lost him.
Did we?
Oh.
We're back to the bar chart now.
I know, right?
I feel like I'm sitting high on the horse.
Well, we'll see if he logs back in. I think we got through mostly all the questions. We didn't get to ask him if he knew the answer to our trivia question, however, which that long trivia question.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, hi, Chey.
I'm so sorry about the connection issues. I'm really in a spot usually, but this is usually where we get good reception, but I apologize.
No, you know what?
Saying?
Well, actually, I think we actually got through. I mean, you answered a lot and actually clarified a lot of different things.
Oh, I'm glad I could help. Yeah, to me, it's basic information, but yeah, I mean, there's certain things from the outside that y'all don't know how it all works, and I get it. It's a it's interesting because people really don't seem to know a whole lot about appraisers, and it's funny when you get one in the cage like you guys have right now. It's kind of funny because we're rare, I guess.
Unicorns.
Top watch is what you said. Everyone knows about you. You guys are important and instrumental in the process, but we hardly ever see you guys.
Yeah.
So
right. We're I can only speak for myself here, but I know a few other appraisers too. But I would say it attracts the introverted nerd type, if you don't mind my saying.
I don't mind you saying it.
Not gonna like that, but yeah, I'm a hermit, man. This is totally outside of my area to do something like this. So I just, yeah, it's a little strange for me, but yeah.
Well, thank you for getting outside your comfort zone and being bold. That's what we talk about. So thank you for getting outside of your box and having a conversation that actually is not just helping us, but all of the people that are going to be listening to this broadcast after we're done too. So thank you.
Oh yes, my pleasure.
Yeah, thank
My
you,
pleasure.
Shai.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes,
Thank
thank you.
You bet.
And we-
guys.
Did you want to take a stab at our trivia answer?
Oh, you can shoot that at me again. I didn't get all that, but I do know what you're talking about. It pertains to the cost approach. But what was the question again?
The question is, after determining the value of the improvements of an existing structure, the appraiser deducts this amount from the market value to determine the value attributed to the land. This appraisal method is known as
But don't say the answer.
A, surplus productivity, B, the abstractive method, C, the development method, or D, the land residual method.
It's extracted method, I would say, or land residual, but both of those work in the same vein. But yeah, it's I'm gonna say extracted land.
The extracted
Am
method.
I wrong?
No,
Correct.
You are correct.
You are correct.
Yeah.
This appraiser knows his stuff.
That's
yes, he does.
I
It
was
only
like,
took him 30 years to learn it.
wow. Yeah, sometimes I feel like a rookie. You wouldn't believe it. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, it's been a long time since I took my test. It's a very difficult test. So you know, and the farther you get away from that, the more you get unfamiliar with some of those terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, thank you again, Chey. We'll let you get on with your day, and we're going to go ahead and finish up here with our update. If you want to hang around for that, you can. But we really appreciate you again popping in and talking.
Thank you, Shai.
Sure.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
All right, you guys, we got some news and updates for you this week.
And that was fun.
It was. So lots of good little nuggets he was dropping up in there. So good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So news and updates for this week coming up. So this week, Wednesday, we have our business meeting for all of our John L. Scott family members at 9 a.m. Also tomorrow, Tuesday, we have our career night coming up. So that'll be at 5:30. You can tune into either any one of our web pages, go to our calendar of events. You can sign up and join for career night. It's also on our Facebook page. Also this Thursday, we have Google My Business with Wendy Lunt. That is also on our calendar for training and events. She'll be talking about SEO and hyper-local hacks. So her classes have been great. If you're a real estate broker and want to up your game, tune into our class. Friday, we have Forms Friday. We'll be covering the optional clauses addendum, and that'll be some good stuff. So that's Friday at 9 a.m. Also, we have on Friday, Facebook Friday. So I'm not sure who our guest is right now, but once it comes out, we will announce it. It'll be on our Facebook page, and we'll bring you more information who's coming out Friday. And the last thing we have coming up is our market update, which comes out every Friday. We'll be going over our new listings that we have coming on the market, also going over our open houses that are going to be scheduled for the weekend. So stay tuned for that. We have lots of great stuff coming up, lots of lots of training, lots of information, lots of good stuff happening here.
On the market updates, had mentioned that the movie theaters, at least two, the Regal and the Century over at the Capitol Mall, Olympia Mall, had opened up. So Donna and I went on the 9 o'clock showing for The Goonies, and it was so cool to be back in a movie. But you know what was different is popcorn, no refills, and the pop machines were not open. You had to buy the plastic bottles of soda pop instead of actually having the fountain. So it's not quite back to the traditional movie experience quite yet, but it was really cool to be able to be in the theater. They've at least at the Century, they blocked up 2 seats to each side of your party. So Don and I were in our own row with the reclining seats. And I love the reclining seats because you can also pop that middle arm up. So she was able to lay over and get comfy while we just watched the Goonies and just had a little movie flashback.
The Goonies.
Oh, how romantic.
It was cool. When we were walking into the theater, there was a rainbow right illuminating the Cinemark theater. So
You saw that. Yeah. Were there a lot of people there?
No. It was it definitely was just, I think in that theater there were 3 people in the row above us and 4 people in the row below us.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. And also the way the seats are staggered in their own rows with little walls. It was great. It felt really good.
Yeah. Well, we know that the movie theater industry is really struggling right now through this COVID. So we'll see what ends up happening, as they're open, if people are going to start actually getting back into the movies and patronizing the theaters. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Good.
Tenet, the Christopher Nolan one. Yeah.
There's some new releases. So you guys saw an old one, but you went back. It was nostalgic, but there actually are new releases that are out. So yeah, if you want to go and see it on the big screen, you can do that in Thurston.
Everybody, come down to Thurston County.
Yeah.
We have movies.
We got movies, butter popcorn.
Popcorn, yeah, the experience. So, wow, I guess it's that time again to shut it down, lock it up, and get ready for the week.
Yep.
What was that? We need the sound effects there, Mr.
Yeah,
Steve.
I didn't realize. I think Steve was doing the whoa, but at first I thought he had a fly around him. He's gonna call him Mr. Miyagi with a pair of chopsticks.
Oh gosh! Any final thoughts, you guys, before we head out?
I. Just like always, love spending time with you guys. Love spending time with you and the audience. Chey was that. I love when we get a chance to learn and understand a little better about the things within real estate, and also appraisers serve a real value, and sometimes I think they get villainized inside of real estate a little bit, but they have to be very accountable for what they do, and most of them really honestly do a very good job.
Yeah. And we as real estate agents need to be accountable too. We get paid to do what we do, and we need to make sure we're doing it 100%. And that is also guaranteeing for our sellers that we're doing everything that we can to help the appraiser do an accurate valuation on the property. So again, he gave us some really good tips, and we just got to keep moving. So, all right. So I guess this is it. So we're going to go on out today. It's going to be a fabulous week. I think I saw a text message about what our weather was looking like this week. And it said something about like, this is Jurgen's weather. Like it's all in the 70s the whole week, which I'm like, I don't know. Is summer over?
No.
We're just getting like in the 70s. Are we going to peak up into the 80s again? I don't know.
I'm sure we will.
It's going to be a beautiful week, though, however.
Yes.
And so enjoy your week. Have an amazing day. And we're going to go out with this be bold, meaning, just think, don't live inside those 4 squares. Like you see our 4 squares, get outside of your comfort zone. Right? So we're going to go out with a big be bold. Do something that raises the hair on your arms, that is moving your life forward, that you normally wouldn't do. So on 3, we're going to say be bold. 1, 2, 3.
Be bold.
Have a great day, you guys.
Bye. Oh, where am I? Bye.